Hello, we're back with episode number 205 of Live Drawing. Tonight, let me toggle a. Oops, what am I doing here? There we go. Turn that off till somebody says something. We're going to be working on a sketch cover tonight for Undersea Hero. It is the last original art reward for the campaign. I had done some other sketch covers, but it had been so long since I looked at them. And actually, it looked like I spilled coffee on some of them. So, like, I can't send any of these to people, I don't think. Like, this has a coffee stain on it. I think this one does too, yeah. See, it's got a coffee stain. If I can get it to... There we go. Now you can see the horrific coffee stain. You know, the front is nice. I'd probably have to paint the whole thing. This was one I was probably going to color and give to this person, but I don't know. I'm not happy with some of it. So I think this will just be my cover. That's a bad drawing. That's a bad drawing. That one's okay. But I decided we'll do a fresh one, and that'll be what we put in what'll be one of the last handful of rewards that goes out. I'm working on putting those boxes together now. I've had to do some other box doodles. I shared the Swamp Thing box doodle that we did. These are preliminary sketches that I did for, we've been talking about doing this for a while on the channel, and Dime Box Comics was a book I did back in the day. I don't think I have any in arm's reach or anything, where we took Golden Age characters and did new stories with them. And I really like this Kingdom of Star Patrol that Joe Kubert and Carmine Infantino worked on, and I just did a bunch of designs. This is kind of how their logo looked. It was I'm still coming up with the story. I wanted to say something about the importance of those genre fiction tropes at that time, and how we can comment on them and maybe say something about what they evolve into or what they've become today or how they've stayed the same. So that's kind of the story I'm balancing in my head while making it this little fantasy adventure yarn. You know, different characters, different ideas, alien creatures. You know, this is the level of sketching I tend to do, you know, in the background of doing things, you know. Again, doing like spotted semi-aquatic guys that look, they have kind of a Toth vibe, but they also have, you know, a Dave Cockrum feel to them. So like, it's very steeped in that lore and mythology of comics. You know, just trying to come up with different looks for the characters, different ways that they act. I was trying to come up with like an Empress of the Galaxy kind of thing, you know. And then again, just trying to get a feel for the character. You know, lady with like an electric whip of some kind. I don't know. Just different ideas, and they're not all going to be in there, but just trying to get into that headspace of like what they were creating at that time and what goes on in those stories and why it's important to look at those and do something with it rather than just either proliferate or like try to just do more of it, like try to have a purpose behind it. And to do that, you have to read the stories and get fully steeped in it and understand it. And, you know, I thought this face was the best drawing on this sheet. This one right here. I thought the cheekbones and the nose. Hey, good to see you, Martha's. I saw some of those drawings you sent me. They look pretty darn cool to me. I don't know. I like this space reporter lady. I thought that would be like an interesting way to talk about the evolution of media in both comics and just in life. I thought it would be cool to have a character that takes the Lois Lane character and does something with it. So, but I am, as the line says, I'm currently free of con crud. So that's a big step forward. But yeah, let's get going on this sketch here. I want it to be a nice shot with Undersea Hero and Krakus that kind of serves as my capstone for this whole project. So like, That's the kind of weight I put in my stupid head when I'm doing just a sketch cover, and somebody's going to look at it and be like, "Well, why is it?" Well, it's just a sketch cover, but like I'm seeing it as like what it means to me in both terms of the project and the cover itself. So, yeah. Hey, Patrick, good to see you, man. It's about 2/3, so crop it there. I shook it earlier in the week. It didn't last too long, so I was fine. I was fine. Mostly for the last of it. I would say was probably on Saturday. I hope you're doing all right and healthy. We'll have to move him down because if we're coloring this, we can't put it over the logo, so we've got to lower it some. Oh, the little things we learn as we go. It's a little stiff. A little stiff. Yeah, I saw plenty of the cast members signed items as they came around. The only cast member from Lord of the Rings I saw Billy Boyd. I saw him walking around. A friend of mine is an agent of some of the voice actors, so I saw some of those folks as I was talking with her. I haven't drawn as much as I'd like to lately. I've been busy with one of my big day job projects is coming out. It's the new coloring book for the vessels of the Steamship Authority. So if you're riding to Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket starting end of this week's, I don't have timetables, and I'm going to be kind of like laissez-faire about it. What I'm thinking is like the first. I'm trying to get the plot worked out. I'm trying to keep it under 9 pages. 9 pages is the limit. I want to keep it to the top, and I want to tell a complete story. So um, I'm thinking having the quote unquote script done by the next show, maybe, and then maybe we'll do thumbnails and we'll see if people like the idea of working on it on the channel. So, sorry, dude. I didn't have a fever at all. It was just a, head cold, tested negative for COVID, did all that stuff, the due diligence you're supposed to do. Sorry you got caught up in all of that. I will share this was one of my big pickups at, not the book, but the signature at Fan Expo Boston. Larry Houston, who's the executive producer on the X-Men the animated series, both from the 90s and the current one that's going on. He's also a comic book artist who worked at Charlton as his first gig, and then he also did mini comics on the Masters of the Universe comics. He's done a whole bunch of other stuff, so tons of animation directing and everything else. And I got to meet him, and he was super nice, and he was actually quite delighted that someone would bring this to get signed. So it was very nice to chat with him. Yeah, it's a little too stiff, this figure here, so, like, we're gonna keep working, and that's a sign that, like, I just haven't drawn enough lately. You gotta curve the figure a little bit and just see what we can do. I'm sorry we weren't around last week. It would have been You would have been listening to me, sniffle and cough the whole time, so it's better for everyone. It's not better for my, analytics, though, I tell you, when I miss a week, all of the algorithms just push my show way back down, and we get, like, way fewer viewers, and it takes me, like, a month to build it back up anytime I miss an episode. Maybe I don't have the chops to do an action pose tonight. Again, it just looks stiff, so yeah, I post on Facebook and Instagram when I have to cancel, or at least I try to. Um, I'm not good at posting to YouTube because I don't think I can do that from my phone. That's it. When I haven't drawn enough, I get frustrated and I abandon and I like put myself down in my head like this is a terrible drawing. This is never going to work. And I'll defeat myself before I work even through the concept, and that's a bad habit to get into. Let's see if we can get a figure that looks relatively. Um, all right. Yes, you messaged me about that at some time. Yes, yes. I know I need to get to that. I feel like because of the subject matter, that would need to be like a little watercolor. When is Columbus Day? Let me. October 12th. Yes. Okay. So I need to get it to you. I'd need to get it in the mail probably end of the first week of September. We'll get it done for you. I owe you one, Patrick. So we'll get it done. Truth is, I haven't drawn Undersea Hero all that much, except for Oops, sorry, I'll turn on the comment thing. I usually wait till people have spoken. There we go. Sorry, I'm rusty. It's the hosting and the drawing at the same time. That's the skill. Paying attention and also concentrating. This looks a little more human. You can see just because there's the front to back movement and it doesn't look forced. I'm not trying to make it do something it's not supposed to do, and the pieces just fit together. Oh, that's nice. I really like EJ's work. Yeah, get another baseball. That was an interesting challenge. Like I played some college baseball, so I had signed a hand like some baseballs in my life because like they do in college, even when you're at like a small school like I was, they'll have you sign baseballs for like the boosters, so they get the whole team as like a thank you for supporting the team, or giving us some money for shirts or bats or whatever ends up happening with the boosters, or do it running the scoreboard. So like I'd written my name on a baseball before, so I was aware of some of the challenges involved, but it was still drawing on one was difficult. I was glad the guy was happy with it because he has paid like big time comic book artists that have. I think he collects them from anybody who's ever drawn Batman in any way, and that's why he came to my booth and got one. Spawn. Oh, there was a question about Spawn. I missed it. I'm sorry. Hold on. Have you read a Spawn comic? I've read a handful of Spawn comics. Um, I probably read like the first trade paperbacks worth of Spawn comics, and then occasionally someone would hand me one over the years. Like I read the Sam and Twitch miniseries. Exactly, Jonathan. Yes, Batman, baseball bat. Yep. It should probably be flipped the other way, so because it's on a cover. It should probably be this way. All right, I think we have a rough idea, so we'll get started. And it's going to be watercolor, so we actually have to use our regular pencils. We can't use blue pencil because it won't erase enough. Yeah. And I did pull a winner for the Phantom sketch cover. I just have to finish it, and then when I post the finished one, we'll announce the winner. It was a person who doesn't always show up on the stream, so we'll see. Hopefully we can get a hold of them. There we go. It's got a nice circular movement to it. So I always enjoyed the Bugs Bunny baseball cartoons when he was pitching and he throws the ball that's so slow that they all swing and miss a bunch of times. But yeah, I enjoyed putting together these Kenton sketches. I think that there's some interesting stuff in here, and I think it will work well for Dimebox for an 8 or 9 page story. Like I said, I want it to be to have a purpose and not just be making random stories that are kind of like old comics. I've got 2 other projects that people are bugging me about, and one that's kind of just floating out there. So, kind of what I've told everybody is that currently, because of my day job, I don't have a ton of time, and I'm not taking jobs just based on money because I don't have to right now. That'll probably change at different points in my life, but I can just work on what I want to work on, and I'm not as concerned with the financial end of it. So I've got like a drama that I want to do. I've got some interesting stuff that I want to do. So hopefully I can get myself together and get things going. And like I said, I was talking to the Iron Face guys about doing some more of that stuff, and we'll see what becomes of everything. Got a guy that works for a card game company that bugged me about something a long time ago. I told him I'd get back to him after Undersea Hero was done. Like I said, we only got a handful left, and unfortunately, one of the rewards has proven to be trickier than I had hoped it to be. It was where I draw like a big thank you and write their name in the sand, and then get like either a drone or a high up photo of it and send it to them, and that has turned out to be difficult to do. So that's anyone who got that one. You're all in that last little cluster together because I have to probably hire a drone photographer. One of the big pickups I got at the convention, I got in a $2 bin, and this happens with this particular series. People know the famous issue of Swamp Thing, but they don't know that this is actually the first Alan Moore issue of Swamp Thing. The one after this is Anatomy Lesson. This one kind of wraps up everything that came before it, that Elliot and then Tom Yeats and all them were doing. And then this is over, then Anatomy Lesson, which is the more famous one with the famous cover. Uh, but yeah, for $2, this is like in this condition, at least a $25 comic, I would say. It's complete, a couple of spine ticks, but it's in really good shape. So $2. That $2 bin, Jonathan. My eraser. I'm doing a little show. It's the Independent Creators Con in September. It's one day. It's in Warren, Rhode Island. I put the dates, I believe it's the 26th. I put the dates and a link to the website in the description of the video. If you are in the area and you like indie comics, I've heard it's a great show. I've never done it, so I'm excited to be a guest there for the first time. And yeah, I did see that Ken Landgraf will be there. So if you're into old Outlaw comics, he's kind of like the godfather of that stuff. So Undersea Hero, when you draw him, he's got to be kind of silly looking. So like if you ever find yourself saying, "Gee, I'd like to draw this very obscure character that this random guy whose streams I watch sometimes created," if he doesn't make you kind of giggle when you look at him, revise it. Try to make it so that you kind of giggle just by looking at him. And his head is shaped like an old boot. Hey, good to see you, Daniel. Have a good rest of your night. But it was very nice of him to say, he was looking for the stream. There's some days where I'm like, 200 episodes. How does anybody even care if I keep doing this thing? So people do, so it's nice to hear. On Sunday, actually, Jonathan came to the show with me. So yeah, that was a very nice treat to have some company. Made the commute much more enjoyable to chat comics and other nonsense. Put Professor Prawn right here. Professor Prawn is very fun to draw. I actually had a very funny exchange with a guy at the convention, and he picked up the book. I have a copy here. Yeah. He picked up the book and he points right here and he just starts laughing. And he's laughing and he's like, oh my God, is that, and he goes, is that a penis? He's like, did you draw a penis on the cover of your comic book? And I said, I kind of laughed. And I said, no, that's an evil shrimp wearing a lab coat. And he looks at it again and he goes, oh, I see it now. Yeah, I could see it. And then he puts it down and leaves. So that was a fun exchange. Yeah, don't even worry about it. Could have happened to anybody. I did message the convention center about it, and they did say that they would check the security cameras or whatever. But I'm not at all worried about it. I messaged mostly because Joe, who also had stuff stolen, wanted like proof that other people had things missing or whatever, and so I messaged him. I don't. I've been on the other side of these things, so I don't have high hopes that anything will come of it. But it's just a sketch cover. It's not worth hours and hours of work. Like I can draw another one in the time it takes to uh, file reports and review tapes and all this stuff. It's fine. I do need to get better at going around Artist Alley and hitting up young artists for sketches. I need to be better at that. I think that that's important to do. Find somebody that's doing some inexpensive sketches and throw them a few bucks just to have them ply their trade. People that have worked on no books yet. That's what I need to do. Another book I picked up was actually a replacement copy. This was a book that I bought originally at Walden Books at the mall in Newark, Ohio, and it's the last issue of X-Men Classic. And again, I think this was also in the $2 bin, and it's not in perfect shape. It's got spine ticks and stuff, but it's just I wanted to have it because autobiographically, it was an important comic in my youth. Yeah, I've got IC3 and I've got Granite, and those are the only two. Those are the last two shows of the year for me. So I don't really have any intentions of booking any more. Shows in December are just asking for trouble. for me. I didn't buy any artwork. I should have picked up a sketch. Jonathan picked up a couple of nice sketches from Bill Wenzel. I should have picked up one from him, but I never got back over to his booth when he was there. It was an error on my part. And I've still got to finish that one-page comic for Len. I just have piles of stuff I need to do. And there are times I need to be better at being like, no, I don't have time for that. Ah, yes, guy. Getting a picture with Rolf is very cool. Yeah. Some looks very off. Still working on the foreshortening here. Trying to get the foreshortening where you draw this foot a little bigger than this foot, and it kind of forces the perspective a little bit. One of those little old-timer tricks. I think this hand is a little too big, so we'll bring that back and up a little bit. The arm's a little too long. This arm needs to be a little more broad on both sides, and a little deeper, kind of fleshing it out a little bit more. My plan for the coloring would be to have a single tone maybe for all of the background characters so that they're all in like a blue, and then, I don't know, if there'd be a way to shine some light on them, that would probably be what I would do. Right now I kind of have a neutral light on him, and once we light him, I think it'll probably be from up and over here coming down, so that we have, some cast shadows that can give us our depth, and we can really, basically just darken out this whole leg. This inflection point needs a little bit of work. I bought a whole big pack of other books and stuff, but I don't know if there's anything people want to see. Um, I did get some new sketch covers that we'll have for, we're doing our first of the month giveaway. This is actually for my buddy Jay, who I wanted to do a trade with. That Invincible Spider-Man watercolor sold, second day, so we'll do another one. This was just a 50-cent book I bought. I'll read anything Ted McKeever worked on. I really like his work. Um, really just graphical, fantastic, just line work and exaggerations. I did a trade with Sam Glanzman. We traded books, and he bought some artwork off of me, and this is a book he did a while ago. Nice Green Lantern, Darryl Banks era sketch cover, Ron Mars. And then there's the Phantom. It's not done yet, but you can see how far we've gotten. I've got to get a reference for this plane and then finish this background, and then we'll be done. I keep putting it in my bag to work on, and I keep forgetting to work on it. Usually I work on that sort of thing on like my lunch break during the day, and lately I've just been drawing characters. Thanks. Gotta finish it. I already picked out the winner. I gotta finish it and get it to him. So I'll try to finish it tomorrow. Then this would be Janet War. And then right here would be Colonel Feathers. And then I thought about putting Liquid Lead right here. We find out a lot more about Liquid Lead in issue 2. Liquid Lead's pretty easy to draw. He's just your classic smaller guy with like a domino mask on, so pretty simple. If the light's coming from up there, we want some shadow here, and then that shape starts to work a little bit better once you light it. It looks kind of goofy as it is, but once you put some light on it, it works a little bit better. Yeah, 24-hour comic would be tough. If that's something that trips you up, I would agree. I like some of those. I think it looked like you did some with a ballpoint pen that you sent me a while ago. I thought those looked good. Personality. The line has to have a bounce to it, and usually that requires like whoever's drawing them to have confidence or abject fear, one or the other, to where you're like just going a million miles an hour, and speed feeds into the type of line you put down. He is snarky, yes, and he will. You'll see more of that in issue 2. You'll see why people don't really like him. And you'll find out how old he is too. That's another bit of story. Yeah, it sounds like you're talking yourself out of drawing digitally for the 24-hour comic day. So if that's what your gut's telling you, then go with it. It's been a little bit since I've drawn my own characters, so it's good to get a little refresher. And I don't have to pay anyone to show my own stuff on the stream. I will tell you, the shell piece has become a real thing with certain people who pick up this book. They just can't get past it. They become obsessed with it. And I feel like it says as much about the reader at times as it does about the correlator. Yeah, 1 hour page time limit is tough. I would just have to do it in pencil, I think. I think that's the only way because I've done 24 thumbnails in a day before. So like that would probably be what my 24-hour comic was. It would just be a pencil with some line ink thumbnail. Have I had someone cosplay? I've not had anyone cosplay as anyone. The correlator takes a lot of guts if someone were to do that. Morena's easy because it's just a long like cocktail dress that's green with yellow stripes. You know, Poseidon, our Poseidon, you just have to make the big P medallion, and it's just like the classic toga with Santa Claus hair. You know. I've not had the only character I've had cosplay that I've created were some from the Tick, and then from Altered Reality, we had a couple people show up dressed as those characters. Radio Bear would be great. You just get a bear costume with headphones and a microphone. I do plan on setting up a threadless store that'll have some merch in it. I don't know when I'll get to it, but when you're in business by yourself, all that stuff takes time. And it's like, do you spend time proliferating back end stuff like that, or do you spend it on the new material? And that's the choice that has to be made like every day. Here's our liquid lab. And you'll find more out about Jan in issue 2. She's a very cool character. I mean, the correlator's probably like his character really is there to show the reader how that archetype fits within the framework of those concepts of superhero tropes. Thanks. Well, the way I look at it with Undersea Hero is this is 3 issues worth, and I only have to do 3 more standalone issues for there to be a trade's worth of material. And if we got that much Undersea Hero out into the world, and if that was it, I would be I would feel like it. I would feel pleased that that was the amount we got done. Obviously, we do more, wonderful, but I think that a trade's worth of material of a completely homemade independent book is an accomplishment. I've really been working on cheekbones again, trying to get those better down. Hey Ray, how's it going? Thank you. Yeah, this is my character, Undersea Hero. He's my superhero comedy adventure character, and yeah, this is Lord Crackus. He's a cuttlefish that likes to drink and go to the casino and gamble and vice and all those sorts of things. The Correlator, Colonel Feathers, Jana War, and Professor Prawn. And this big old book was the big effort of mine for. Of course, now it's blurry for quite some time. So when we get the last of the Kickstarter rewards out, it will be available, and there's only a handful left. It will be available on encnichols.com. I believe at first only the standard cover will be available. I haven't yet. Again, like all these things, I would love to get all this done, but life, day job, trees landing on cars, funerals, con crud. You know how it goes. You're well aware. They're all in my big board plan, my big magic board that lists all the stuff I want to get done. I do have one cover coming up that I have to get done, and that's going to be a watercolor, which is exciting. See, now I don't want to do one color. Jana War's hair is actually one of my favorite design elements. I don't know if people really took notice of it, but she has two-toned hair that's blue on one side and then orange on the other. It gives a really nice dynamic to designing her scenes and stuff. It's like a cape that has different colors on each side, so you can do all kinds of interesting design choices. There's definitely stuff in this book I would redraw, but like it's out in the world. It is what it is at this point. And we'll still have the French edition coming out later this year or early next year is now the timeline. The main reason for me creatively to do the dime box short is that I'm just a little rusty on my sequentials. I haven't had time to draw sequentials in quite some time with all of the paintings and everything that I've had to do individual drawings. And she's got this little gold necklace thing that we'll find out what it is eventually. And then it's just real simple. It's just a solid black for her like crop workout top. And then she's got the people again have asked me about my design choices on some things. This knotted like loincloth here is based off of a series of clothing that I've noticed that was handmade in Africa, and it was made out of a single piece of cloth that they wrapped and tied, and they would make these amazing designs of different like clothing styles, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I just started to incorporate some of those into my designs just because I thought it was I'd never seen it before in comics, and I thought it was cool. Yeah, I mean the web page is up. I just haven't made it. I haven't made the book available to the public yet because I made a promise to my Kickstarters that I would not sell it online um, until they got their stuff. I've sold it in person at shows, um, but that was only after I got a chunk, a big amount of the backers their stuff. And then I had these shows coming up, and it was all I had around the house. Hey Jay, I got to show you something, Jay. Remember I told you I threw out that Youngblood cover I started for you because I hated it? I was able to get a replacement one at the show at cover price. So I can try again so we can do our sketch cover trade. So, I won't try to just draw all the characters. I'll actually have a plan, you know, probably Shaft and then like little headshots, like little floating headshots or something. Colonel Feathers with this little air pack. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that was John Lucas's cover. That was a great one by him. Yeah, we had covers. That's the John Lucas one. Then we had the Craig Russo, Jeff St. Pierre, and Rich Woodall. So we were very lucky. I've had a couple of people tell me that they're willing to do covers for issue two. I don't know how many we're going to do. I've had two people already tell me they wanted to, so there will be at least three covers for issue two. And over here, we'll get our correlator. He just has to look grumpy. Big frown on the correlator most of the time. Big frown. And he's got kind of a pointy nose that goes kind of like this. And he's got your classic little off-centered villain eyes. Well, one of the cover folks I can mention was because I think we even just talked about it when he was on the stream last. Is Eli Stone? He's a big friend of the channel and a big fan of Undersea Hero. He's mentioned on multiple occasions that he'd like to do a cover for it. So I'm going to try to make that happen for the next installment, which will be sometime next year. You know, it's not happening soon. And I got to get Patrick's little watercolor done for his friend's birthday present. That'll be fun, though. I'll do that probably sit out on my porch and do that one. All right, so, and then, like I said, I love Jana War's two-tone hair, and then that will actually be kind of the flowy thing that brings the eye down from the upper right all the way down here. Got a lot of work to do on this. Although I think this layout will work fine for the watercolor piece. I think it'll work fine. These sort of montage shots don't take a ton of. You got to be aware of your tangents, but you don't have to do like a big cityscape background or anything. So there is a little bit more leeway, and we're not worried about keeping everything on the same plane. We don't have to worry about scale or spatial relationships as much. Like that's why you'll see these around, and they're one of the things that you'll see come out as covers over and over and over again. Oh, we can make it happen. It's not like I gatekeep any of those types of gigs. And I've got an almost finished Acts of Helena story in the drawer. I think I have to do like 5 or 6 pages and that'll be done. They're just little ink wash pages, so and the lettering's right on the board, so it's not even like a full-fledged comic, so I don't even know if I could release it as Acts of Helena #2 without people being like, well, what happened? I've got one right here that's forming, so I might have to think of a way to fix this side. I think the easiest way would be to not draw the rest of Liquid Lad. We'll pull out this hair because that's a good design way to do it. And then this all ends up being water back here. This is all water, water, water. To pull his body forward a little bit. There we go. Because it was his hand was like kind of touching or too close to the edge of his body there, so we had to pull him forward just a little bit. There's a little bit of one right here, but I overlapped it a little extra just so that it looked intentional. And it pushes Liquid Lab back further, and it brings Professor Prawn forward. Yeah, there's a scene in issue 2 where Janowar is eating ice cream on a couch that I hope people can relate to. Because I think that's one of the hardest things to do while operating within the constructs of a superhero genre narrative is picking out relatable moments to the human experience that can help draw people closer to these outlandish characters. And I think that that's something that I endeavored to do in this issue. And I will continue to endeavor to do in Undersea Hero because I think that at its core, beyond the real simple, self-explanatory one of friendship, is one of the thematic touchstones and cornerstones of it as a work. I think it's what sets it apart from other superhero comedy books, and that's hard to tell people when you're giving a sales pitch at like light speed at a convention. It's like, well, it's really trying to talk about how someone can relate to people that are just absolutely cartoonishly outlandish and still have that sense of humanity. Um, it's a lot easier to be like, pick it up, it's funny. But there's a purpose to it, and I think that that is why some of the jokes confuse people, and I love that. I love that it's not an easy thing to quantify. I like that some of the moments in this make people uncomfortable or confused, but then you have just silly little bits like this where this is a bit he's been beating up these henchmen, and then the little sponge guy sticks his tongue out and does the little sound because the little sponge guys pantomime everything that the host bodies do. And we play with other tropes like the mind control going on to the sidekick, in danger, and then he just grabs a fish and then beats him with it. That's the kind of silliness that is rampant throughout. But taking that level of outlandish weirdness and finding ways to get people to relate to them on a human level, like I said, I think that's part of the purpose of it existing. Oh yeah, the Spongeman is actually the easiest one because you don't even have to wear like an undersea suit. It's just an orange blob with like two ping pong balls with marker dots on them. That's really all you need to do a Spongeman cosplay. I mean, I don't think anywhere near enough copies are out into the world for someone to, on their own, be like, I'm going to cosplay as an undersea hero character. No, we're at the, you got to pay somebody to do that level of interest in my work. I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, I mean, I think I could see us working on Dimebox like pages uh September, October. I think we could be doing that. Yeah, I think that's doable. You know, I'll spend a little time tightening up the faces. Like I said, spend the most time on faces and hands. I got to go in and fix this hand, spend more time on that, and things like that. But, you know, some of these drawing decisions I'll make as I'm inking. And that's doable because the style that this is drawn in, everything about the rendering of these characters, I've done, you know, so many times at this point that, you know, I can keep it consistent pretty easily. And Dimebox is open invite, so like if anyone on the channel wants to contribute something, even if it's just an article about Golden Age comics or anything, I'm all open to any of that. So we are going to be adding some science back matter to the next Undersea Hero. So friend of the channel, Kevin, he's a dive master. He's going to give us some content. I've been donating copies of Undersea Hero to libraries, so if anybody's library is interested in having it and is willing to make it available for checkout, I'm willing to donate a copy. So, like, if you go to a local library and they take they'll take a donation of it, I would send them, I would mail them a copy. So, I think we're in 4 libraries now. 4 libraries, yes. I actually dropped one off at the Nantucket Public Library not that long ago. So that was our fourth. We're in the 2 Hyannis ones. We're in the one that Jonathan got us into, and then we're in the Nantucket one. And look, the hope is just that you put it there and somebody reads it and somebody likes it. I'm not looking to make any money off of it. I would love for people to be able to discover it. And I know what it's like to not have any money for comics. I wholeheartedly know what that's like. And like I said, thanks to my day job, I can afford to donate copies and do things. Started a manga. I have not read a manga in many years. I think the last one I read was I found a copy of Miyazaki's Nausicaa in a dollar bin not that long ago and read that, but I didn't read beyond that. I just read the one that I found, and it's just visually, it's just incredible, beautiful. We covered up the shell piece on the cover. Hmm. That's a shame. At some point, we will do a cover that's just the shell piece, just to see what happens. Just watch the chaos happen. It's just been fascinating, truly fascinating. And there's a joke in the next issue that I hope it continues to inspire people. But we got this pretty well laid out tonight, so I'm pleased that we got this far. And I'll get to work on throwing some ink on it, and then maybe next week we'll be painting on this, and then it'll be done. So thanks everybody for coming out. I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful rest of your week. Stay healthy, stay as happy as you can be, and I hope everything um, goes smoothly. And hope to see you next week. All right, thanks again. Good night.